What would your approach be if you were just starting out now with ESPN as opposed to when you were there in the embryonic stages?
Good question. Well, I would hope I had the hair that I had then. I think I saved some in a pillow somewhere, but I can't put my hand on it right at the moment, Dan. But not unbelievably different, because I think deep down our job is to get it right, to convey the information. I think that, well, my excitement is real. I mean, you know me personally, I'm kind of the same way. That doesn't mean that I shout down every aisle of the supermarket, but I think enthusiasm, when it's genuine, is appreciated whatever job you do, whether it's digging ditches or whether we're on TV doing sports, which is a little easier to be enthusiastic about. And I think as long as you are yourself, I think those three things, I mean, I would tell any young sportscaster, radio, TV, or hopeful to do those things. Don't be enthusiastic if you're more of a Bob Lee type. It's not to say that Bob didn't enjoy it, but he's different than me or you. And I have the utmost respect for Bob, obviously, to this day. So I don't think in that, at the very base of starting out, Dan, that there would be that much difference. Those catchphrase, you know, the things that are nicknames, et cetera, I never did those to be, hey, I can be famous, because that doesn't work in the long run. So those three things, I still would be the same in that way. Now, obviously, medium and everything has changed some, but we would adapt to whatever technologies are now versus then, or et cetera. I think you probably, if someone asked you that, you'd be pretty similar answer. I would think so.
Well, they didn't want us to be ourselves. And you probably ran into this as well, that certain management members didn't want you to do those nicknames or be yourself. Keith and I faced that same kind of barrier there. There was a glass ceiling that we didn't realize. And then when we did, it was probably too late. Nowadays, you know, they're begging for talent to be, hey, go in there and have fun, be big, be, you know, don't be afraid. Whereas we tiptoed late at night, and I'm sure you probably had your moments where you had somebody who said, hey, can you cut out the nicknames here?
Well, I did, and we don't need to go into that story. They did at the end of a baseball season in '85, and they were back in '86, and he was gone. So they fought the law, and the law won. But that's, I think but I don't want. There's no. I mean, that's a long.
Nah, we're good with that. We've moved on from that. And,
yeah, but
I still tell people about the Charlotte Observer when I first got there, and I was. For some reason, I had to observe the making of SportsCenter for, I think, at least 2 months. And you just saw me come in. I'd sit down. I wouldn't say anything. I would just watch you guys write SportsCenter. And then every day I walked in and you went, hey, the Charlotte Observer. And I just said, my wife would say, how does it go? And I said, oh, Chris Berman calls me the Charlotte Observer. And I said, I don't know if he likes me or not, but he calls me the Charlotte Observer. And she goes, okay. And then I explained it to her. But, yeah, and then my first show was when Chris stayed after doing the 11 o'clock, and he stayed for my first one. So forever indebted as he went on and helped the Charlotte Observer.
So I'm to blame, huh?
Yes.
With all this.
Whatever happened. Yeah, you helped me.
Hey, listen, but just quickly to get a chuckle out of you, the beauty was my style was not to mean that anybody at any moment couldn't say, cut it, pipe it down or cut it out or tone it or change it. The beauty of figuring this out in the 80s is I don't know who was watching in the very early stages. Now, I was a little, not wilder. We didn't crack eggs on our heads. We were all into sports, but 4 years, Dan, I did the 2:30. Now, that's 11:30 out west and, earlier in Hawaii, but tape was expensive. Maybe the bosses will never see it. And so a lot of how I was established was a decade ahead of you, at least at our place. I mean, you were at CNN, et cetera. But it's not to say, well, he's already this. We can't change his batting style, the way he throws the ball. Sure you can, because if we can't improve, we're going backwards. But some people were using us as a nightlight early on, and that's when I kind of established on the air, kind of lurching forward and backwards, who I would eventually become. I had that advantage. There was nobody observing us.